Hey, we're going to be showing this 10-foot Flexwing mower on the oldest tractor we've ever had it hooked to. This is a 1948 model M Farmall. It's actually been souped up a bit, but yeah, we're gonna see it run. We're gonna talk to Jake, the owner of the tractor, and learn all about the tractor and the history. It's been in the family for 3 generations. No, 4 generations. All that and more. Let's get started. Jake, tell me a little about this old tractor. It's a 1948 Model M, right?
Yeah, so it's 1948 that my great-grandfather purchased in 1953. It had been on fire with a mounted corn picker.
Okay.
And it was all redone before they bought it. They said when they bought it, people come from 20 miles away, want to see the biggest tractor in the neighborhood, and now I don't know anyone around there that's got a tractor as small as an M. So it's, everything's bigger. In 54, they put an M&W kit in the engine. Other than that, it's just had routine maintenance. I mean, the M&W kit should have had it up around 47 horsepower or so. And we did put it on a PTO dyno a few years ago, and I was at 40 horse.
40 horsepower on a PTO
yeah,
dyno.
So we were like, okay, wore out M&W kit.
For those of you that are kind of saying, what's an M&W kit? Well, M&W kit is oversized pistons, and oftentimes they were a different crankshaft that had a longer stroke.
Yeah, they had stroker cranks, sleeve and piston kits. Some of the kits came with different timing curve stuff to put in the distributors. M&W made stuff for everything.
And they really focused on these Farmalls. M&W, by the way, you may not know this, Jason. M&W is RhinoAg.
Really? That's
so there's a little bit of heritage there. Yes,
yeah,
and they're located in Gibson City, Illinois, in the same building today that they were located when they were M&W.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And so there is an interesting history there.
Yeah.
But M&W focused on these Farmalls. These M's had room for being able to power more than what the engine would do. I mean, a stock M tractor, I'm not sure what the rated PTO horsepower was, but according to tractor data, they tested some and they were 36 PTO horsepower. You're saying this one's about 40. You wanted to come over today so that you could try out this TS10 on this, specifically for this.
Yeah, I'd stumbled upon this last year. I've emailed all the manufacturers for this 10 to 12 foot range mowers like this, called multiple dealers, talked to a lot of people, and the general consensus was there's no way a Farmall M will run a 10-foot mower.
Based on what I experienced a few moments that I was driving this thing, a stock M would be fine.
I mean, I could see there might be some stuff you're mowing something that's once every other year or something you're mowing it. It might get on it pretty good then. But then I think your big restriction is just the gear drive transmission of you only go that speed. It's
first gear is about 2.5 miles an hour, 2.6 according to tractor data, and I'm not sure which tires that has. This tractor's got a little bit bigger tire than it had when it was stock. You know, it's possible it's probably in the 2.6, 2.7 range, but it doesn't feel, it feels perfect speed, to be honest, to be mowing. I don't really want to go any faster because I like to do a good job. I like to take my time and I like not to get bucked off.
I've only ever mowed with it in first gear. I've got a 6-foot mower I typically use, and it's just, I tried second once and I just thought it was too rough in the field, and just back to first gear, take my time, try not to tear anything up. And which I did do a little partial pass here in second gear. It mowed fine, it just
a little rough.
Felt rushed. Like you really had to be on top of everything. Like, oh, we'll just back to first gear.
And to me, that's the biggest problem with today's project anyway. There wasn't enough.
It definitely made short work of it. I mean, it's, I mean, compared to what I typically do with a 6-foot mower, it definitely cut the time down considerably.
While Jake was mowing with old Emmy, I was doing trimming around these brush piles and trees and the tower building, the fences, etc., using Vinny and the fine cut flail. In the past, I've used the 10-foot Flexwing for all of this simply because I only had one machine there. Vinny's front-mounted flail makes this a lot easier. This is the only flail I have that's front-mounted. It's also the only flail I have that uses the Y blades rather than the hammers. Both of those differences lead to this incredible cut quality. I mean, it just chops stuff into tiny pieces. let's talk about that. This is the, let's say, the $12,000 question. Did this pull any different than your 6-foot mower?
No. Power-wise, it did not feel like it was working it any harder. The temperature gauge might have been just a little bit higher than normal, but we got to looking at it, the radiator's not quite as clean as it could be.
Okay.
So I don't know that I would contribute that to the mower so much as it's not pulling the air through. But I mean, the last time I ran this with the 6-foot mower, it run hard enough that it turned that exhaust clamp blue.
Yeah.
So I mean, that'll pull hard.
This is he has a bush hog 6-foot pull type mower. Well, there is no 3-point hitch. Some of these M's, I think the later ones may have had the fast hitch on them, but this one's just got the drawbar and the 540 PTO. One hydraulic hose, in other words, a power up and then you have to gravity down.
Yeah.
Is that kind of standard on the M's?
Yeah, you can get kits of stuff to retrofit double acting hydraulics. There's ways you can route them and make it work, but the standard thing is just power up and then gravity down.
We had to replumb the TS10. If you keep real close eye on our videos, we recently did just replumb the TS10 to be able to have power down on the wings. So we actually had 3 hoses running to the tractor before. We had power up and power down on the wings. We also had power up and gravity down on the main deck. But in order to be prepared for you, we worked at this yesterday. Dave and I worked at this yesterday and replumbed it back so that it's all on one hose. So for wings and for lift, everything's on one hose, all connected. So we're power up, you lift first, and then if you just keep trying to lift, it eventually folds the wings. And there is where we found the only thing that old Emmy wouldn't do.
You're going to need 2 people to do that. There could be multiple variables of why, but it would not fold the wings itself. You guys could assist it, and it didn't seem like you were struggling too bad. It just
we had to pull with probably
help.
30 pounds of pressure right off the ground and lift to provide just a little bit of assistance, old Emmy.
It doesn't make enough pressure. Is the 1948 hydraulic pump getting tired?
I suspect it's a tired pump.
Does it not have the reserve fluid capacity to get that last little bit?
No, it's not capacity, it will be pressure.
Yeah, was it just running out of stuff to build it?
So pressure is the only issue. And a lot of these older machines weren't rated at a real high pressure. It may only have 1,200 to 1,500 PSI.
I think this was only like 800, like 800 or 900.
Leave a comment if you know it, and it may list it on TractorData.com.
Yeah, there's something I remember looking up. Early ones had a lower pressure pump, and later M's had a higher pressure, and I want to say one of them was 800 PSI, and I don't know where the cutoff is, or if that was the high or the low.
Well, that's what you need to get your dad is to buy you an upgraded pump so that you can run your new TS10. Now, you have a little bit more hills. This is pure flatland here.
Yeah.
So this is not going to be apples to apples.
Yeah, I'm kind of central to the edge of what they start calling southeastern Ohio. So, I mean, if you're coming down 70, going out of Columbus, heading east, about the time it starts getting some hills to it, toward the Buckeye Lake area and just east of there toward Zanesville is where I'm at, the home farm, and it's not bad. I mean, this was the tractor they used to use for everything back then, so you can do it all with a tricycle front end. Maybe not so much advisable now by current safety standards. If you're going to do it, you really got to be on top of your P's and Q's of how you're doing what you're doing to make sure it don't get away from you.
So that's one thing we weren't able to test was, how much power are we going to lose going up a hill, but based on what I saw there, I'm not too concerned. I would say that you're going to be happy with it.
Yeah, I think it would do fine. I mean, especially if it's something you're going to mow 2-3 times a year type deal, I could do great. I mean, that's if you're doing it every other year or every 2 or 3 years, I could see it struggling. You're going to be trying to send so much more material through the machine at that point that you kind of expect it.
Now, if you've watched our videos closely, I've actually mentioned the idea that the most cost-effective and efficient mowing team that I could see for field mowing is something very similar to this. Not exactly this tractor, and I'll explain why, but this brand new TS10 mower paired with an old tractor, right? A tractor that you can buy in good condition. for $5,000 or under. Probably can buy these tractors $3,000 in certain
Oh, you can buy
cases.
fairly recently restored M's for $3,000.
And so you can buy tractors in great condition with this. Now, I'm going to say it's not perfect, and that's because it's lacking one very nice feature for mowing, and that's an independent PTO.
Yeah.
Jake had an overrunning clutch on the PTO shaft that allows it to keep from pushing your tractor into stuff, but we had to take that off because it didn't quite fit our PTO shaft. So we've got it with a straight transmission connected PTO. If you're thinking about something similar, an Oliver 77 is a very similar tractor that does have an independent PTO. Oliver was the first with the independent PTOs, so a 77, 88 in that time frame would be a good one to consider. But I'm telling you, these old tractors are cost-effective machines. They're sippers on the gas. They really don't drink much gas.
Yeah, I think the rated fuel use at full power is like 3 gallon an hour.
Yeah, and
so
you're cutting a lot.
Probably gonna average somewhere around 2.5 gallon an hour.
So yeah, it's this is what I think, if you're wanting to be the most efficient price-wise, you could make a lot of money mowing with something like this. These things are reliable. The M, the old Oliver 77. You can get into some slightly newer tractors that have independent PTOs of all brands. The Olivers, of course, are my favorite, and the Fleetline series is the earliest ones you can do that would have that independent PTO.
I've got a sweet spot for that 6-cylinder engine. They're so smooth. Growing up watching some guys, local guys pull them, they always sounded so good. You know, the antique tractors in general, because I mean, a lot of these bigger farms even nowadays will still have an old antique around. Like, well, what can we do with that? Get you a mower, you can use it to mow your waterways, trim around road frontage and stuff like that.
And they have them for the memory.
It's just kind of neat to do from time to time. I mean, you get a little more of a workout, manual steering, no cabs, no AC.
4 generations with this tractor, counting you, and you've got 3 little guys yourself.
We've had a 5th generation on it. My sister's oldest daughter, I had her pull it one year at a local festival at a tug pull. I mean, she didn't do bad. She didn't break anything. She didn't get last, so that's a win.
That's why folks like these tractors. You know, you don't see many cars or trucks that people have around for 5 generations.
Due for a cosmetic overhaul, and you know, probably mechanical as well. It's just getting tired, but it's still, as long as the battery isn't dead, you hit the button, it fires right up. You can run it all day as long as you got fuel in it, and it's been a great tractor.
Jake, how do you think the cut quality compares to what you've got with your 6-footer?
I think it surpassed it. With the narrow front end and the 6-foot mower, it'll struggle to pick that center up sometimes.
Okay.
Some of the stuff, it'll just, you get done, you look at it, and it's just didn't pick that center up. And this, every time I looked around, looking at it now, it all seems really even.
I don't see any sticking up.
Yeah, I think it probably surpassed it.
Those 3 blades, they're magic, and if people just tell you that you can't, number one, that you won't be able to pull it, and somehow, some way, by having 3 spindles, you can get away with it. And the second thing is the cut quality, just because the blades are spinning in the right direction, because they can get more lift under the deck, it just does a better job. I really wanted to drive that old Emmy for a minute, and the only bait I had was Vinny, so I got Jake on it, and he enjoyed getting to try it. Just a little bit different style than what he's used to. But you can tell here in about 30 seconds he'd already mastered it. Jake, you drove a long way to get here, and I really appreciate it. I've been wanting to try an old tractor on this mower for a long time, and I wish you well. And
I appreciate the opportunity. It's been
send us some pictures.
A fun day.
Post a video of you running your brand new TS10, and just
maybe.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim. Be wise in the way you act toward outsiders. Make the most of every opportunity. Let your conversation be always full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer everyone.